Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Aptos. Before we jump into the video, I'd just like to say thanks for watching. If you're enjoying the content, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and why not leave us some feedback down below. We're always happy to hear from you, so why not drop us something down there. Okay, so there isn't much information to do with Aptos. We don't have a lot of data here to work with, so we need to be a bit cautious with some of the things. So we're just going to go over a few possibilities here, and I'm just going to touch on some of these. So we can't, because we don't have the data, we can't actually rule out something like this. We look at this as having a subdivision in the middle here, and this could just be a B wave to the upside. So we need to just be careful with this structure. This could just be a three-wave move, in which case we could either look to break down and take out this low point, or alternatively, we could look to form some other structure here. So it's too early to say with this. We'd have to wait for the structure to develop down. There are also some bullish counts, which we could be talking about pushing up from this point. So we're going to be talking about those as well. So make sure you stay tuned so we see all the options. But effectively, this is still potentially a possibility where we can argue that we've had a three-wave move down here as an A, we form this three-wave move as a B, we get another three-wave move down, and this just moves range bound like this. This is a possibility because we don't have the information. It is also possible, like I said, that we have some bullish counts within the structure. So the way we would be looking at this is, if we do remain range bound here, we could potentially just sort of range in here and form three-wave structures up and down. If we do start to develop something like this would actually be my preferred count. But for the time being, we don't have enough information for that. So um, the other way we can look at it is effectively that we have completed into this low point here, and we could argue that potentially we have a five-wave move completed into this high point. So if this is the case, we'd actually be expecting a deeper retracement here. Typically, we would come down to this 50%, all the way to the 786 would be sort of a zone we'd be looking for. However, we don't have the information to say that, and as well, there is this significant high here. So it is possible that we could actually look to come down into a shallower retracement here, where we actually don't come quite as deep as that 50%. And we can see that that 382 is pretty much in line with this with the bodies of this move. So that would be an interesting zone to see how we react. It is also possible, that we could see a move play out like this, where we actually come down into this zone, we move back up, and then actually look to push down one more time and test slightly lower. So this is something we just need to keep an eye on within this structure. Even if we do get a bounce here, it might only just be a bounce and we could go lower again and then look for this wave two. It is also possible we could get a shallow wave two, depending on what structure forms here. If it's a more complex correction or flat correction even, sometimes we can end in this 382 range. So we need to just pay attention to that. Within this, effectively, what we'd be looking at is this is a five-wave structure to the upside, looking for this wave two, and then looking to push up for wave three. Um, Basically, the other way we can look at this is that it is still extending. There's a couple of ways of counting this. There's an extremely bullish one where we count these as 1 2 1 2 1 2, in which case this would be looking to push up multiple times, but pretty much until we break this high point again, it's not really worth going over too much the super bullish option, because of the fact that basically this high point here could also be a high, and then like I said, we drop down for that wave two, which is lower. So until we get evidence that we're actually going to start to move up here, this is at least less likely in my opinion, but it is still possible. So we could still be looking for this potential to move up here into this zone and look for this fifth wave. So off of the current area, the typical fifth wave would be this 2634 to this 2257 zone. So if we do actually push up one more time, this would be an interesting zone to actually see how we react on. This could potentially mean we move up one more time here, and then we look for that retracement. So we've got to just give it a bit of space and see how these waves form. The other thing we were looking that's pretty much it actually. Like I said, it is also possible this could start to break down. So if we start to lose those support zones and actually start to get bigger five-wave structure, and this moves impulsively, we just need to be careful that we don't actually come down um, deeper. So, I mean, a 1-to-1 would actually bring us back down to this $2.78. So This is something we just need to be careful of. If this does play out, basically what we'd have to look at then is that this was an A, a B, and a C wave to the downside. So there's nothing really indicating this at this point in time, but we need to be aware that it is a possibility. Okay, so let's get into the shorter time frame stuff now. So basically what we were looking at within this is if we're looking at this potentially as a fourth wave, the target zone is actually down here. It's between this 1589 to this 1055 zone. So that would be a 382 retracement. I've put these other relationships on here just because um if this is a third wave, it has been quite strong. So that would mean that basically sometimes we get this fourth wave which doesn't manage to quite push down as deep as it normally would. So if we do start to either push up from here and we start to take this high point, then this would be the probable scenario here, depending on how this happens. If this blasts through this zone, then we'd basically have to say that we're looking at an extension, and this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. And then basically we'd get an additional 4 and a 5 and a 4 and a 5. So depending exactly how this structure plays out in this zone here, we could be looking to some additional legs to the upside here. So that's just something we need to be aware of. But at the moment, we have taken quite a move down here from this high point, and we will basically, I'm looking at it in two ways. So either we can have something like this, where we have this this is an A, B, C to the downside, and we actually complete here for a W. Then we could look to form this connector wave and then look to break down again for this Y wave, which would actually take us quite nicely into this zone of this previous structure. So this is something that can still play out just as a corrective structure. The thing is, once these corrections start to get this big, it becomes less likely that they are part of the structure that's within here, and rather that it is either a bigger connector wave or just the beginning of a bigger move to the downside. Because basically, if I just switch this one on for a second, if we are completed, what we'd be looking for is a deeper retracement here to the like I said, this is the higher range of it, which ties in with that structure. However, there is also basically this 50% would be in line with this previous structure here, and then basically from there, that would be a typical retracement zone. We've added this higher range here just for the fact that we have that confluence with that structure. But it is possible that we could actually see this move play out where this becomes an A, we come up for a B wave, and then actually push much deeper. So just got to be aware of that. Um, but for the time being, effectively, what we have here is just a smaller correction, and we are looking at this two ways. So like I said, this could be a WXY where we actually come back up here and test this trend line. There's nothing impulsive forming here yet. You can argue that potentially there is a diagonal within this move, but what you'd want to see then is a move back down to this 50% to this 786 range, so 1530 to this 1473. So an interesting zone here would be this 1506 area. This would be a golden pocket retracement. So what we could argue is, if we do hold this low point of this 1432 and we form this as a potential diagonal for wave one, we can argue that we could come down, test this area, and then look to push up for that third, fourth, and fifth to the upside. And there's also a possibility that there could be some extension in here and we have a shallower wave too. But this 50% would be sort of the minimum requirement I'd want to see playing out if that is going to be a wave two. So if we come here into this zone and we argue, let's go into that 50% actually. Basically, confirmation would only come by moving above this 1890 zone, and that would then give us the possibility of this third wave being up here, fourth coming down towards this zone of the 1743, and then effectively getting another push up for a fifth wave. So this is something that can play out, but it would rely on holding this low point and then also holding this zone of this 1530 to this 1473 zone. So, if we lose this 786 here, it becomes more likely that we're actually going to break down. The thing is as well, because this is a diagonal, it can also just be an A wave. So we could just see something like this play out where we just form an A, a B, and a C to the upside, which would tie in with this X wave idea. And effectively what we'd be looking for then is potentially something like this, where we come into this high point, we come back down, test the structure, and then potentially look to push up, depending on how deep we go here. Like I said, that 618 is lowered down here. That 1717 area could be an interesting zone, as well as the 1757 if we only come back and retest sort of the higher end of this. Um, so, we need to just be careful. We can't get too bullish, because if this doesn't develop that third wave, it could actually look to still break down for that Y wave. And if we argue that we came up here into this 1-to-1, what we could then have is basically, like I said, this is a W forming a connector wave here. And what we could have from here, if I can get on this high, down into this low, off of this point here, a 1-to-1 would actually be down here towards this 2850. So depending on how high we travel here, it is possible that we could still see this play out as another leg to the downside. This could either be a WX and a Y, or potentially this X wave could extend up here where we form this move comes up here, we drop down, we find support, we push up again, this becomes a bigger B wave, and then we would have a potential for a flat correction. So until we actually start hitting some of these impulsive marks, we need to be careful of the fact that we could actually still break down within the structure. So, even if we do hold the support zone and we push up one more time, unless we can get above that area we talked about, that, let me just throw it back on because I've forgotten the number. At 1862 area, we can also see that this would be tying in with a swing with this previous swing high here. So it is an important zone. We'd want to see that support and actually look to break above it. Basically, until we do that, we just need to be aware that we are in a downtrend. We have been respecting this channel so far. So it is possible it could continue to move down within this channel, like I said, as a WXY, and then effectively look for that lower area that we are talking about. Okay, so the other way that we are looking at this currently is looking for a breakdown. So because we are looking for the potential to actually push deeper down, I'm actually going to turn this off. We can argue that we do have that potential to actually form some five-wave structure here to the downside, and then looking to form a deeper move like as a zigzag. So that would be looking more at the fact that we are potentially looking for this deeper wave too. Like I said, either we can get this as a WXY, we come back up for a B wave and we push back down, or alternatively we could just see this come back down here and complete and then push to the upside. But if we're looking at this as a deeper retracement here, we can argue that we're sitting right in this zone. And if I come into this, basically they'll be looking at this as a wave one, the potential for this to be a wave two. So really, until we break above this 1750 185, this is something we need to be aware of, that we could see something play out like this, where this becomes a wave one, we get a wave two to the upside here, and then actually we start to break down much deeper. So we've actually already come into that 50% zone. Um, this would be that 618, and then the 786 is slightly higher up here. So this is a potential area we could look to get some rejection within this zone. So we need to be careful in this area. If we do start to break down more impulsively, basically only by moving past this 11,850 would this confirm this structure. And then we would have to allow for the fact that we could then add this to the move as a 1-2, and then look to push down for another fourth and a fifth. So we just need to be aware that these high points are important. This 18,738 and this one here at this 1751.85. We need to break back above those to sort of mitigate that potential for breaking down in five-wave structure. If we fail to do that, and these continue to extend down, it becomes more likely that actually what we have is a 1-2 with a flat, and then we're looking to form another 1-2 and start that third wave decline and push a bit deeper. So that's just something we need to be aware of within this. Like I said, we don't have a lot of structure to work off of here currently, but it is possible that we are just forming this correctively, or we could form impulsive moves here. Another thing I'm just keeping an eye on, I'm going to turn this off for a second to explain this, is there is potential as well that we could look at this slightly different, where this becomes 1, 2, 3. We'd have to form it as an expanding diagonal though, so this would have to be a 1, 2, 3, and then potentially looking for this as a fourth wave to the upside. So it would, if this does play out and we're looking for this expanding diagonal option, what we would want to see here is a move in this fourth wave. It would have to move above 1750, 1755, 1757.55. Okay, so that would be a zone we'd have to move above, and we'd want to see this play out basically in three-wave structure. And then we'd want to see a move play out deeper than this third wave. So this is, like I said, it's still early days with this, but basically if we see something like this play out, and then we get a much deeper three-wave move here, this could then potentially become a wave 1, where this has got another three-wave leg down here, which passes this $12.40. So if we see something like this, it is possible then we could be looking at this as a leading diagonal, a leading expanding diagonal. And what this would be then looking for is basically the potential for this to be either be an A, then we form a B and a C to the downside, or alternatively we form a 1, 2, 3 to the downside. So that's what we're currently looking for. I mean, until we actually start to break down deeper, we still do have that potential for that upside. But we need to see this play out and hold these lows if we want to start talking about the bullish option here, because this could continue to just start breaking down, retesting these previous zones of support, breaking down, coming back up, retesting, breaking down, and then that would be more indicative of sort of a complex correction where we come back into these B wave zones and then we break down again. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss a video, and why not leave us some feedback down below. We really appreciate the support, and in the description below you will find a link to the Discord. Why not come check it out? It is free to join. Once you're in the general chat here, just mention a member of staff. We'll be happy to help you out. Also in the description you'll find affiliate links to BYBIT and PrimeXBT, both great exchanges we use on a regular basis when we're doing our trading. Check them out. They do have deposit bonuses if you meet the requirements, which can be found by clicking through the links. If you do use the affiliate link, it does help support the channel, and we do appreciate it very much. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.